In the first two parts of the series, we looked at why Chicago is so segregated and how segregation affects its schools. In this part, I'll spend a day on Chicago's South Side with someone who has a different vision for solving the city's crime.
This is 79th. It's one of the deadliest streets in the city. This whole 79th strip.
The South Side of Chicago has long had a reputation of violence and poverty. This comes from years of racist policies that have left this part of the city separate, with little access to resources or economic opportunity. And most of the time, the city's answer to this violence is more police.
Do solemnly swear.
But for many who live here, like community organizer Jamal Green, adding more police to the streets is not the answer. Jamal grew up in the heart of the South Side, in the Auburn Gresham and Englewood neighborhoods. He made national news during an MSNBC town hall in February during a conversation about Chicago's violence.
You could put 100,000 police officers on the street that will not reduce violence in the city of Chicago because police are only there to react. His name is Rahm Emanuel, and this mayor that we have in the city of Chicago does not care about black people.
Jamal is only 21 years old, but his passion is infectious. So when I went home to Chicago to work on this series, I decided I needed to spend a day seeing the South Side and its potential through his eyes.
I was a class clown in school. I got kicked out of 9 schools, and I went to about 12 throughout my school life. You know, I was a troublemaker, but I didn't take it to the streets. I think I just had so much energy and was seeing so many things around my environment that I didn't like, you know, that I wanted to change. And I felt like nobody was actually trying to change things. I used to live right here on E Block, as we call it. So all the guys were sitting right here in front of this house. And I was coming down the street and I ended up crossing the street to go back towards my house. And so once he started shooting, like that gate, that fence wasn't right there. And I had went right behind that bush as he was shooting all the people right here. And so I was just watching him shoot. I've seen large guns, I've seen drugs, I've seen people being shot. You know, that's what motivated me more to be involved in what's going on. You know, instead of joining the gang or instead of ignoring the real problems, I decided to be, you know, help the community get solutions. It's my clothing line that he got on, y'all.
You're welcome.
Yeah. What size is this? What?
It's a medium.
Large. That's my hoodie.
This a medium. This a medium. Remember I told you it's too small?
It's a large. I just looked at it.
Oh, I needed a medium.
For Jamal, helping the community change is about people interaction.
Hey, come on, man.
So he founded Majesty All-Stars, a community organization that focuses on mentoring young people.
Man, he got shot 8 times, man. Boy, that boy, it's a blessing for him to still even be here.
That's what I told him, man.
To be shot 8 times and be able to still talk about it.
That's what I told him.
Because I see so many cases every day. People get shot once, twice, dead. Lost too much blood. Life in Chicago. Let's get some of this heroes. They haven't talked about real solutions to change the economic conditions of these neighborhoods. That is what's needed in these neighborhoods. It's not, we don't need martial law. We don't need, you know, federal intervention. We may need federal dollars to rebuild these communities. Blending the sweet tea and pickles like a business.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing.
All different kind of pickles. Like,
Wait.
All the different type of pickles.
And then you put a pickle in it.
No. I mean, like,
the pickle business is separate than the tea business.
Okay,
see, they got like, Mayor Emanuel don't come into these neighborhoods. Donald Trump hasn't came into these neighborhoods. So really, I believe that they don't care. And that's the real problem that we have here.
Jamal has learned a lot about community organizing from his mentor, Father Michael Pfleger. Pfleger has lived and worked at St. Sabina, the largest African-American church in Chicago, for the last 40 years. And his own mentor was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
You know, we've got to change people's lives. We've got to offer them options and opportunities. Otherwise, we're just like the system. And we always say the system, we ought to give young people opportunities. Well, so do we. And otherwise, we're no better than them.
A lot of these businesses are not, you know, nobody's doing anything in them, they're vacant. So what I want to try to do is try to give people incentives to put their shops there so we can kind of develop this neighborhood. These resources aren't available in these communities because politicians actually really don't care. They kind of favorite the corporations. They favorite the neighborhoods that bring in the most money or the most taxes. And some part of me kind of want to say it's a little racism, because how can you see a 2-year-old be killed and not do anything? This is the barbershop we're gonna go to. It's right here. I started getting my hair cut in when I was a young boy, Ford's Barbershop. And there's so much violence in this neighborhood, and the police station is right across the street. It was funny because I was like, man, they do the same thing to black folks. Yes. Anytime they kill a black person, they be like, well, he was convicted.
Go back to his past.
Right. What they got to do with him just being killed?
Exactly.
That justified?
I tell young people, I say, be careful how you talk to the police. I don't care what you're thinking.
Right.
You better shuck and jive just to stay alive.
Real
do
talk.
what you gotta do. Yes, sir. But it's gonna be all right. You got people like you and these good people. Fight for the underprivileged, like me.
You know, I think a lot of people kind of count us out as lost causes, or count out the people that need help. And that's all that they need. They need help, they need guidance, they need resources, they need funding. And once people get in their mind that the reason there's so much violence is because of the economics, because of the funding and resources, I think people will kind of change their mindset. No economic development, everybody out on the corners. You know, 79th is that strip. You know, that's why it meant a lot to put a youth center right here. One thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to open up a community center right now that's based on entrepreneurship and giving kids the tools that they need to not work for someone else, but know how to work for themselves. This is going to be the Majesty All-Stars Youth Center. It's 12,500 square feet with a 30-foot ceiling auditorium, 500 seats, classrooms. We're gonna, be training our youth to get ready to go into jobs, resume training, interview training. We're also gonna be teaching adults and youth about real estate and credit development.
This community center is no small thing. There's nothing like it for miles. Jamal raised enough money to buy the building in April, but is still fundraising to do renovations. Jamal may be young, but he's filling a gap that for so long, political leaders have been neglecting.
What I love about, my neighborhood and Auburn Gresham and Englewood is that even though so many things going on in these neighborhoods every day when it comes to violence, the people still love each other. People still have events, people still have barbecues, people still try to hang out and just, kind of have fun. And we're pulling from a small chain and trying to help people, but we love each other enough to do that. We're not sitting around sad and depressed and giving up on each other. That's the best thing that we have in these communities.
So while we were in Chicago, we learned how housing policies manufactured a deeply segregated city. All of this has a really big impact on the city's children of color. Check out parts 1 and 2 of our series to learn more.